we'll get started. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out today. We are supposed to have a few more attend, so if they trickle in, then that's okay. I appreciate your time today. I think you're going to learn a lot. Even if you take away a couple of points, then that's great. Hopefully it'll be time well spent. And I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jenny Kotulak, and we were to have a panel of 3 experienced agents today. Unfortunately, one of them couldn't be with us. There was a death in the family, so I'm going to kind of just do double duty here today, introduce everybody, and then I'll also sit on the panel if that's okay. So we have with us Michelle Hawco, and Michelle has been in the business for 8 years. She's with Remax Real Estate Center in Milton. She does work the Milton area, and she also covers the surrounding areas. She's a part owner of a local 3D printing business, and she has a really great fun app in the App Store, and that's how I first met Michelle a few years ago. I was at a conference, and she had her business cards with this, her little icon or emoticon or whatever you want to call it. And it was a really great kind of niche thing. So she's expanded that, and she's met a lot of people through it and done some referral business. So she's with us today. She also went to school for business and marketing. She was a franchisee with Petrocan for 5 years prior to entering the real estate world. And she also gives back to her community. She's very involved in volunteering. She loves the community she works in. And as you guys will find out as you go forward in the business, that passion in the business is the best thing that you can have. Okay, so that's Michelle. And beside Michelle is, what's your name, Ryan? Ryan. Find Ryan here. Hang on. He just sent it to me, okay? So he was supposed to send it 2 days ago. Okay, so Ryan Smith has been in the real estate business for over 6 years. He started as a buyer's agent on a successful real estate team at Keller in the Kawartha Lakes area, and he joined Keller Williams 4 years ago. He's working as an office productivity coach at Keller Williams Edge in Burlington. He coaches new and experienced agents. He's the founder of the Niche Agent podcast, where he interviews top agents across the globe about their niches and their successes. So afterwards today, or maybe Ryan's got a card with Niche Agent, you can go on, check out some of his podcasts with different agents all over. They're from Canada, and I think you might have a couple of American people in there too. Okay. So it's really great. You can take that home and listen to it at your convenience. So I've been around for a long time, 25 years in this business, done a lot of volunteering here at the board. I was past president. I was president in 2007, and I'm a real estate broker also. And I do some training with new agents. So I'm going to sit in today. I'll tell you what I did when it gets to my turn. So, okay, so we're going to let Michelle go up and start, and then she'll talk for a bit. And we had planned to leave the questions to the last, but if you have a couple of questions, I'm sure she'll answer. Oh, sure. And then as long as we can get through our spiel, and then you can sort of ask the questions at the end and see what our timing's like, okay?
I'm just going to pass around some business cards, if you don't mind. Just take one and pass them along, and I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about why I did that in a few minutes. But thank you very much for having me, Jenny. I was a little taken back. I've never spoke at an event before, so I appreciate that you think I'm doing something good. And really, to that point, I think we all sometimes lack a little bit of confidence, which is really difficult when you first enter the business, and certainly it was for me. And until you really start to have that confidence and understand what your value is compared to your competitors, I think it's a little bit challenging to sort of sell your value, if that makes any sense. And I think we all have a perception of what we think people want us to be, and I think sometimes we try really hard to fit into that. But what I have to say, and what I've sort of learned, is that you really just need to be yourself. And you need to find people around you who are going to value that. So, first of all, who likes to spend money on advertising? Do you love it? Oh, Ron likes to spend money. Do you have a lot of money to spend on advertising back there?
Sure, independently wealthy, I'm a realtor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges I sort of faced when I entered the business was coming from the gas franchise, which was fine, and coming into this business and having a house and a life and everything that you're trying to float, and maybe not having a ton of cash behind you, because I was still fairly young when I came into this business. You're worried about money. So one of the best ways people always suggest is, start a farm area, whatever, but gosh, like you're not getting your first paycheck possibly for 4 or 5 months, so you're going to start blowing thousands of dollars on farming an area. Maybe that's going to work for you, and that's fine. But my kind of goal coming into the business was finding ways that I could do my business that weren't going to cost a lot of money. And now, don't misunderstand, I think you need to spend money when you need to spend money, and that is on providing a good experience for your clients and making sure you have professional photography and all of the things that come along with listing a house really well. But I don't necessarily think that that institutional advertising piece, being in the paper every week just to kind of have your face out there, is necessarily the best way to spend your money. So anyway, I had been in the business for about 2 years and had kind of, found my comfortable spot and felt like I had learned what I needed to learn to feel really confident to do business. And had my first baby at that point, which presented some questions and concerns and challenges for me, because it was really important to me to be a really good mom, and I didn't really want to put my kids in daycare, which isn't a bad choice if that's what you're comfortable with, but for me it wasn't what I wanted. And I started to try and figure out how I was going to manage both worlds, and I always kind of had referred on open houses and to some degree agent referrals and working my sphere of influence to bring me business. Those were kind of the 3 things I chose when I entered the business. And now that I had my little baby sort of depending on me, I wasn't out there doing as much of that. I still did do the open houses, which were good, and I tried to focus on the community where I was to really avoid commute times. So we had moved to Milton recently, and I was kind of starting the business again at this point when I had my baby. I had started in Brampton, but we made this move to Milton, and I decided to join the most successful office in Milton at that point, because I knew that I'd be able to do open houses there, because that was a very, very good way for me to get business when I started. It was free, and it was something that I could do every week that would generate a bunch of leads, and I could follow up, and it wasn't really costing me anything to do it except for maybe some donuts, right? And I got a lot of good business out of that. But after having the baby and everything, I kind of suffered. I was in this spot where I thought, I can't let anybody know that I'm a stay-at-home mom, because surely this is going to derail my career, because nobody's going to take me seriously. And so I kind of tried to keep the 2 lives fairly separate, which I later learned was a bit of a mistake. And it wasn't until I had started to put my daughter into a couple of lessons. We had gone to a kinder music lesson, which is some kind of frou-frou music lessons for babies, because they're going to learn all about music, right? Be the next Beethoven, maybe. And I got talking to a woman, and she found out that I was a realtor, and I worked with RE/MAX, so that lends some credibility. I think you need to be credible in whatever it is you do. And that led to $1.5 million worth of business, just for going to a music class with my baby and being an out-of-control mom, just like everybody else, right? Like track pants, it's a Monday morning, and here we are with our babies. And that was kind of an aha for me. And you know what? It's funny, because you think all sorts of things about being a professional, but ultimately people want to do business with people they like, know, and trust, right? Know, like, and trust is what they say. And I think that is 100% true. So once I started to realize this, I was really able to analyze what I should be involved with. What should I give my time to? How can I be a great mother and still get out and make friends? Because I think to be successful in this industry, you need to go and you need to make friends. And they need to know what you do. And you don't need to pressure them into using you. You just need to demonstrate that you're really a professional, right? And things will come from there. So within my own town, I became part of one of the moms groups. So we have something called Moms Town in Milton, and you have it in Oakville too. Now, I know for everybody's in a different place in their life, but this is just an example. Maybe it's not a mother's group, but maybe it's a special interest group, right? Like maybe it's a book club, maybe it's something of that nature. And if you're really passionate about reading, then why wouldn't you be part of a group like that and make friends that way? I started hosting groups for Moms Town, so had kids in my house for Play-Doh and puzzles and all of those sorts of things, a few snacks for the kids, and again, free, I'm home, I'm entertaining my child, I'm doing something that makes me happy. And when you're doing something that's kind of, I think, true to who you are, what you love, you're your best you. And when you're your best you, people they're interested. How can they not gravitate to that, right? So from there, I started doing events for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. So every year I would host a yard sale for the cure, which was a really good opportunity to get up on the soapbox about fundraising and being a really positive person in the community. And everybody knew who I was and what I do, but they know I'm fundraising, right? So when I'm talking to people, it's not about Michelle Real Estate. It's about Michelle fundraising for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. And from that, I was very lucky, actually. From my yard sales, I became a bit of a spokesperson for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation, and I've actually had a lot of press opportunities because of that. So 2 years in a row, I did TV interviews representing RE/MAX. Okay, I'm a little nervous, sorry. I'm doing great. But anyway, and then from there I joined a group in town called Mompreneur. And in Milton, it's very mom-centric. So we have kind of groups for all the entrepreneurs, and it was really effective, making a lot of friends there again. I'm out doing free things, having fun, connecting with women, bringing value, having good conversations, supporting each other, talking about business and how we can all be better and learn things. So that's what we did. Support local events. So every year the Moms Group has a birthday party. So I always have a booth at that birthday party, but instead of, just bringing real estate literature and just business cards, I bring popcorn because that's what people want. That's what they're going to come to your booth for, right? So those are the kind of things I think are important. I'm a volunteer with Girl Guides of Canada now, so I run a Sparks troop. I get to network with all those parents all the time in a really positive way. And it's great because all these special interest groups now are all online as well, right? Everything's social media. So how many of you have a social media account of some sort? Okay. How many of you actively use it, like daily? And it's about your life? It's about things you enjoy? Or is it about posting listings and real estate content? No. Okay. So if you're not already on social media, my 100% get on social media. So do what you're comfortable with. I've kind of branched out to, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube, and Pinterest. But I'm really most active, I think, on Facebook. And I do post content to all of the other sources as well. But I think that this is where you can start to, things can start to get interesting and you can start to really hit your target market. So for me in Milton, I actively target moms, or women really, between 27 and 40, because there's a lot of single women I sort of deal with. It's just a small group of people I kind of target. But what I've learned is often you end up doing business with people who are fairly similar to you, right? When I was in my first home, I dealt a lot with first-time buyers, and when I moved to my next home and started a family and everything, I started to deal more with move-up buyers, right? Because you just have more in common with them, and you're gonna meet up with them more. So within all of this social media, I started to do a couple of really fun things. So on my business card, you'll see my little avatar. So she is my profile picture on every social media site that I have, and it allows me to do something kind of interesting. I don't need to talk about real estate anymore because everybody knows what I do, right? She's just cute, she's fun, and we change her up every month. I put a Halloween costume on her for October. Every single month is a different avatar. For my birthday one month, we did me naked. The character naked was censored tape. It was my birthday suit, right? But people thought it was funny, right? It's easy to connect with. It's not intrusive. It's a little offensive maybe, but it was funny, right?
Facebook didn't ban you for that? You didn't make it a profile photo.
No, I did, but it was fine because it was all covered up, right? There was nothing to see, and it's just a cartoon anyway. But it allows me to be free, right? Because everybody kind of knows I'm there. They know I'm professional because I have a brand. And people assume that I must be successful to have branding happening. It shows that I'm fun, that it's not going to be a really staunchy, salesy experience, hopefully. And then it allows me to, instead of talk about real estate, I can talk about whatever I want. So when I'm connecting with moms or people in my community, now I find I'm talking about recipes, like maybe it's how to make your own stock. It's about smoothies. The content now that I blog about, because I have a blog as well, are things that I feel are interesting to people in the community. So I do a community events calendar. And everything you do and all the content you produce, it can do double duty, right? Like you run a blog and you write something really interesting. Well, now you also have content for all your social media sites, right? And I find that the things that are most liked are not the things that you would necessarily think, right? People just want to be entertained. They like the recipes. They like, what else do they like? They love community events if it's local. Things like, where to buy certain things within your community. So if you're writing a recipe blog and there's something kind of unusual in it, make sure to, post or tag in the appropriate supplier of those things within your local community, and then tag that business when you when you mention it on social media. So there's a lot I think you can do with that. Anyway, so that's basically kind of what I'm all about. And yeah, so there is still some real estate content in there, like I do monthly market updates, but it's not the primary focus of everything I do. I think we need to be careful. We just need to engage with the market that we want to target, right? And that's going to help us to just connect with people. And people bring you business. And what I've noticed, even in a lot of the moms groups in Milton, because there's a lot of like Milton Mommies, it's a Facebook group. So if you can start to become, you know, there's a Facebook group for vegetarians in Milton. You know, there's surely a book club group. There's like, search your groups within your Facebook
There's the one in
community.
Oakville, if you grew up in Oakville. I mean, there's thousands of people.
Of course there would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's funny is all these little things you do, and with Facebook you have a special opportunity to even advertise to a certain demographic of people. So anytime I do a post on Facebook, not necessarily some on my personal page, but whenever I actually post something to my business page, I will advertise it. So I'll say $3, for example, right? And I'll target the 27 to 40-year-old women in Milton. And this is how I've built the likes on my business page, because I do maintain both pages because I think there's a time and a place, right? But a lot of people who are my friends are on my personal page, but they're also liking my business, so I try not to duplicate the content too much. But from the business page, you have an opportunity to advertise and just push out to certain segments of the community. And I think you can even post to specific groups or people who are associated with certain groups. So that would be an opportunity as well, if it's not so cut and dry, right? But there's a wide variety of things you can advertise to on Facebook. So like people's likes and, you know, do they have children or not have children? So you can really be specific. But by putting out good content that people are interested in, which is really typically fluffy, sort of just fun stuff instead of super serious real estate stuff, although they do like the real estate stuff, you're going to start to build relationships. And I think if you can build relationships with people locally who have similar interests to yours, then that's a pretty fun way to do business, which is really why I went this way. Yeah. Have any of you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah. He's written a couple of fantastic books. If you're at all interested on like social media marketing and how to kind of optimize what you're doing, the 3 books are called The Thank You Economy. And do you want me to? Here, I'll give you his name again. Gary Vaynerchuk. So Vaynerchuck.
There's no C in it.
Vaynerchuk.
There's a C in it? Vaynerchuk? I don't know.
Gary V.
Yeah, Gary, if you look up Gary V,
Gary V.
or any of the books, names of the book, you'll find it. One of the books is called The Thank You Economy. The next is Crush It. And the other one is called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it's funny, it just talks about basically the whole essence of his theory is that be a great storyteller, connect with people, build relationships. Don't be a typical marketer because it spoils everything. Nobody wants the ads popping up, really. But storytell and create content that people want to see. And then even if you're advertising it, because it's all about news feed advertising anyway, it's going to go there. They're going to like it, right? And then when you do have something important to say, and I find this on my business or on my personal page, I can talk about all of just the daily life things, and you get a lot of likes for that. But then every once in a while, if I put something in there that is about my business, or even most importantly, if you put up something about a success in your business, people love the crap out of that. It's amazing. You'll go from getting 30 or 40 likes on a typical post to I'm like, ooh, I won this award or whatever, and they're like, that's hundreds of likes. And it's amazing, and it's so good, because people have bought into your story, and they want to see you succeed, so they're happy for you. Anyway, that's just kind of my thing. Those are great books to read. And also there's another book that I think is fantastic if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about maybe being true to yourself and being more of who you are. And it was written by Sally Hogshead, and it's basically called How to Fascinate. And it just discusses how the best thing you can sort of do is be more of who you are. And she just kind of teaches you how to channel that appropriately to really help your business. So I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. Hopefully I haven't missed anything.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you for putting up with me.
Does Michelle look like she has passion for the business? Mm-hmm. Definitely. Does she look like she has confidence? And you know how we gain confidence in the business or gain confidence in anything that we do is because we know what we're talking about. So that's something that, you know, you're going to learn as you go on. The more you know about something, the easier it is to talk about it, not to use notes because it's there. Just like, you know, the scripts that they tell you to use, which personally I hate that word, and I prefer the word dialogues instead of scripts, because when I think of scripts, I think about Floyd Whitman and the trainers that we had back in the 70s. So those dialogues will all come easier to you as you go forward. But does anyone have a question? Any questions for Michelle while she's still at the podium? I'll leave it till the end and think about it.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Thanks,
thank you very much.
Great, good job.
Hey, thank you for everyone for being here, because I know when you're new or newish to the business, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff coming at you, so you could be anywhere. You guys are here, so thank you. I want to talk about a couple things today, three things. The first, I'm going to tell you a bit about myself, what I've learned in the business, and then through my podcast, what I've learned through other agents and through the
Can you hear him at the back? Yeah.
So my story is complete opposite of Michelle's, but also the same. There tends to be a similar theme, and it's women. So I want to start with that. Is when I got started in the business, I left. I was just doing my license, and I was in a relationship. I ended the relationship, and I wanted to get away. So I grew up in Niagara, and I packed up my bags after I started the relationship. And I don't know why I ended up in Lindsay. Does anyone know where Lindsay is? Not much there, not much going on. So my father's side of the family lives up there, and my aunts and uncles are all there. And I have no idea why. I just chose. It was just, I got a relationship.
How old were you at the time?
I would have been 25. So I basically said, all right, I just want to get to Niagara. I moved up that way. I got started at a brokerage, and I was going through trying to find a good place to work, and went through all the different companies, and I connected with one guy, and I ended up joining his team. So I was a buyer's agent when I got started. I lucked out in that he was an internet-based marketing agent. For me, if I was to start in the business, and I would have had to do cold calls, because there was other teams, other people that were there who were heavy cold callers, I said I probably wouldn't be in this business right now. So when I got started, we were doing about 100 deals a year on the team. I was doing about 20 deals a year myself. We used Craig Proctor systems. You guys know Craig Proctor? You heard of Craig Proctor? So Craig Proctor is kind of losing his market on what he does, but he's a big on direct response marketing. Do you guys know what direct response marketing is? So that's any type of marketing that I have employed and enjoy is direct response marketing. So direct response marketing is you put a message out there, and the intention of the message is to actually get a response back. Where traditional marketing is brand advertising, it's trying to build your brand. My purpose is to get people to put their hands up and so it could be free reports, list of homes, get people to say, yeah, I want that information. So you choose a target market, you put a message in front of them, something that they'd be interested in, and you get them to put their hand up. So we got started, we were doing a lot of classified ads, pay-per-click ads, online advertising. We were getting probably 250, 300 leads a month. So I was getting a bunch myself. I started doing it myself on the side, and then at about a year and a half into it, I started realizing that I was getting more leads than he was for myself. So I decided to go on my own. At the time, this is where the women theme comes in again, I met another woman, and she was living in Pickering. So we had two offices. We had an office in Lindsay and an office in Bowmanville, and I started dating. So I said, you know what? Screw it, I'm leaving Lindsay, there's nothing here anyways. And I came down, and I went on my own. So I started doing online advertising. And the two methods that I really used, because for me, I'm about niches, I really love niches. So my two strategies was classified ads online, so Craigslist, Kijiji, and for sale by owners. So when I first got started, my first year, I did 12 listings in 2 years from for sale by owners. It was a strategy that made sense to me. I started working it. I mean, I wasn't doing 30 deals a year from it, but I think 6 deals a year was pretty good for the amount of work I was doing. And I really didn't do it that big. My first buyer came from a classified ad on Kijiji. It was a 12-unit apartment building that I got. Brand new. First, it was scared the crap out of me. Luckily, I was on the team. From the classified ads, I've got a $2.3 million investor off of them. So I got really good at understanding the psychology of classified ads, and how to run them and how to get business out of them, to the point where I started teaching people, and people were asking, how the heck do you get into this much business? So I was getting about, on my own, between 130 to 150 leads a month. And I would say 80 to 90 of them were from Craigslist and Kijiji. So it works. You have to do it very intentionally, and there's a reason, and there's a way to do it. So when I started doing it, my strategy was I basically borrowed listings of agents in my office who said, yeah, you can advertise my listings. So I went through and got permission and said, do you mind if I advertise your listings on Craigslist and Kijiji? And they said, sure, because most of them didn't even know what it was or how to use it. So I got very deep with it to the point where I had it on autopilot. And to me, if you can automate your business, well, as much as your business as you can do more with your business and leverage your time. So I literally got to the point where I had a high school student, I was paying her $10 an hour to post ads for me. And it was bad in that I became really lazy because it was so systematic in that she posted her ads every day. She spent an hour a day posting ads for me. I had the whole cycle set up. I had listings coming or leads coming in, and then I got a buyer's agent. And again, I made a few mistakes with hiring the wrong people, but I was getting 150 leads a month. So, and it was literally, I could be sleeping while I was doing this. So I learned a lot of things from that, and the one was you do have to be in the business, like Michelle said. You still have to kind of be involved. You can automate a lot of it, but you still have to have your personal touch. With the online leads, is anyone doing online advertising? Are you doing it well? You enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to, because you see a lot of real estate ads. Like I've just gone on Kijiji because I have this impression that Craigslist is kind of creepy, so I just don't go there. But I go in and look at everybody's ads, and I struggle with, well, how am I going to distinguish myself from everybody else that puts these ads?
So one strategy is not being like other agents, and that's my approach on how I wrote ads was not like other agents. And I call it classified ad diarrhea, where most agents go on, they put page this long about all the listings and how great it is, 17 photos, and they give all this information.
You found my ad.
I didn't know.
So, and there's, it can work, and it's good for exposure, and your clients are happy because they get to see and they get to see all the information. But to generate a lead is probably the worst strategy if you're going to be using classified ads. So for my strategy was one photo, 3 bullet points. For more information, go to, and they go to my website, and then they want to see more of the information about the listing, they go on. So at any given time, I had about 100 ads running at a time. Now, it's a lot of work. It took a lot of work to get good at it. It took a lot of work to get the systems in place. But once it was in place, literally a 16-year-old kid was running my ads for me and on autopilot. So a lot of people will say, I don't have the time, the energy, the money. But really, are you guys prospecting 3 hours a day? To be honest, who's prospecting 2 to 3 hours a day consistently? You guys know you should, right? In some form, whatever you choose to do. So I said, you know what, rather than me picking up the phone, because I hated being on the phone, I said I'd rather spend 3 hours a day figuring out these systems and getting good at it. So I got really good at it to the point where I could pass it off. Then I started doing other strategies. I, at the time, had hired a buyer's agent. It went sour. She stole a substantial amount of money from me. So she obviously left. I had an assistant at the time, and then I ended up hiring out of need because I needed to, because I had so many leads coming in that I had to find someone to fill her spot. I hired someone that I felt sorry for because she just came out of a divorce. She was nice. And she ended up doing 1 deal in 5 months. So then I was just reevaluating what I want to do with my life. I'm like, okay, I know I've got good marketing skills. I know I want to do this. At the time, the girl I had moved for, we broke up. We dated for 1.5 years. And I said, okay, I don't need to be here. My mom got sick at the time, and I was driving back and forth to Niagara. So I decided, I'm going to move closer to my family. That's more important than a female. So I ended up in Burlington 1.5 years ago. And at that time, I realized, okay, I really get this business. I really get the marketing. I understand the dynamics behind it. I hate a lot of this business of the evenings and the weekends and the crazy crap that we put up with. So I started doing coaching and training. And that's where I learned a lot the prior stage, but now when I've been doing coaching and training, I've learned so much about niches and strategic marketing that I would say I've grown just from learning from other people so much. So, I mean, I'm not saying you guys have to go be coaches and trainers to learn, but does anyone have a mentor or a coach or a trainer that they work with? Would you say that would help speed up? Has it helped your business, speed up your business at all?
Yeah.
So I would say if you can learn from someone else and learn from their mistakes, why wouldn't you? When I joined the team, I learned from the team. They taught me a lot and sped up the process. Is anyone here on a team? And what's your experience been like with the team?
It was really good. First year, exactly what you say, especially when you have that bad moments in business, okay, you feel like you don't know if you want to continue, and then you have more people there that they say, that's a part of the business, that's fine, just let it go. So you feel again like you are okay. It's not like you are making a mistake. It's the way it is, and you don't take it personally.
And this can be a very lonely business. I'm sure you guys have found that. I mean, as much as we have offices and we've got people that we're working with, it can be very lonely at the end of the day. You go home and you talk to your significant other and they have no idea what the heck you're talking about. Other people in other businesses have no idea what you're talking about. Your friends are like, you're crazy, what are you doing? So to me, one of the key things in this business is having that support and help. Whether it be through a coach, whether it be through a mentor, whether it be through a partnership or on a team. So accountability partner. So if I can stress anything, it would be find someone that you can help and relate to and reach out to. If you don't have that, I suggest doing that. I mean, I don't know if your offices have a coach or trainer or partner. If you have friends, hang out, take people out for lunch. Take Ron out for lunch. It's expensive, I'm sure you can afford his restaurants. But reach out to people.
That's not how it works.
If you want to pick his brain, you gotta let him pick the restaurant.
We've established is the way to any renters.
Sushi. There you go.
Sushi.
So find a mentor, find a trainer, find someone that you can really connect with, and they will help guide you. Now, one of the things I'm very passionate about is niches. Niches, if you're American, is I found out about 4 or 5 years ago, I really started realizing that the people who were doing very well with this business and really enjoyed it, not just doing well, because there's a lot of people who do well with it at a large scale, but they hate their life, they hate their business, is the people who have found a niche. They found a market that they can go after. They found someone, a community they can connect with, like Michelle with moms groups. There's 101 ways to do it. The people who really got the most out of this business was people who found something and went. For success-wise, it's scary when you're new because you want to do business wrong. You want to do a bit of commercial deal. You're going to do a farmland. You're going to go do a lease of a property. You're going to go sell this person $1 million home. You're going to go sell this brand new condo because you're afraid of missing out on a piece of the pie. And if you really look at the people who are successful, they found something they're good at, whatever that is, or they found a community they can connect with, and they've gone deep with it. And it can be very scary when you're starting out because you're afraid of missing out. But in the long run, you're going to make more money. It'll be cheaper. It'll be easier. It'll be more natural. You'll find something that you can connect with. And I found, by doing this, I started doing my research and I started looking out there. There isn't a lot of support and training for people who want to find a niche because this business is so diverse that it's, hey, I'm really good at I love condos, but how am I going to get some support for condos? Because there's not much out there. So there tends to be not a lot of stuff. So that's kind of why I created the niche agent. And it came from, do you guys anyone know Glenn McQueenie? He's a Keller and he owns a couple brokerages in Toronto. Well, I was chatting with him and he said, the future of real estate is in niches and teams. The days of a general real estate agent are gone or going away or will be gone. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. And I started thinking how true that is. The days where real estate agents, Jenny, you know, when they had the MLS books and people would go through and you try to sell as many homes as you can to as many people. You don't remember that right now.
That's not what he was saying, for sure. That's how I remember.
Okay, a long time ago.
So agents were trying to be all things to all people, but the future of real estate really is in niches. And it can be a big niche. It can be a small niche. It can be a demographic. It can be a sociographic. It can be, there's a lot to it, but really people nowadays want specialists. If you think about it, if you guys went to the doctors, and you want a heart surgery, would you want a general practitioner? Would you want someone who is a heart surgeon who's done the best?
Can I add something to that? I mean, all the information is out there already, right? So everybody, you'll find even your clients, I don't know how many you've worked with so far, but they're experts in what they're looking for already, right? So what value can you bring? that's where you have to wonder, right? So if it's expertise about the community, which school you should be by, like maybe what's within walking distance of a certain area, it's all those like little facts that they're not necessarily 100% privy to that are going to make the difference, right?
And you can't know all that if you're trying to be all things to all people.
That's the problem. Yeah.
I was coaching a client this morning, and she came in and said she got her first listing appointment. She's so excited. She met with a guy, and the guy said, well, this house sold for this house sold for this. And she's like, I couldn't even find it. Like, so if you're not the expert in the area, the people who live in that area or in that demographic or that niche are going to know more than you. So if you don't know more than them, they're not going to work with you. And the only way to know more than them is by focusing. And how do you focus? Choose the right niche, get good at it, master it, and be better than everyone else.
And let the other people deal with the things they're good at. Like, I had a client's looking for a custom home. I call Ron. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't know the intricacies of building a custom home or zoning for that or what's necessary on a piece of land. And I wouldn't want to do my business the disservice of making a mistake. Because you don't have you can make mistakes, but making mistakes in a time where everybody's connected and bad feedback, it's just not good for you. It's better to say, listen, this isn't my specialty, but it is this person's specialty. You can go see that.
And it's a catch-22 because when you are new, you're trying to make a living, you're trying to make some money, and we call it commission breath. You go, oh my gosh, I need this deal. The clients can smell it. They know that you're desperate for it, and you chase that deal, and you end up blowing it anyways because you're not good at it. You don't know the ins and outs of custom homes and land, and then you blow the deal. So you spent all of your time, and you could have just referred it to Ron. Ron would have paid you a 50% referral fee. That you pay now?
75.
Okay. And still got paid on it, and focused and kept focusing on what you're good at. And when you branch off and try to be all things, you're going to be frustrated. That's when you get the agents who are pulling out their hair, putting this business in 2 years, not getting paid, and just saying this business is so competitive, it's crazy. It's not competitive. If you find a niche and you do well with it, it's actually the opposite of competitive. It comes to the point where you can literally, business just starts coming. So that comes with focus, and it comes with you have to have the confidence in knowing that that will happen. You have to educate yourself. Because if you're not educating yourself, your consumers will be. And if you're not educated, you're not going to be up there. And to me, the future of marketing is away from advertising, and it's now education. If you can educate your clients, that is the key. It comes down to it, they want to educate themselves. Who's bought a laptop in the last 6 months? In the last year? Who's ever bought a laptop in the last couple of years? Did you walk into the store and say, hey, sell me a laptop? Some may. Most people will go on Future Shop, go on Best Buy, go on Staples, start researching, going, okay, this one's got this, it's got this, it's got this, and they're doing their research ahead of time. And then they walk into the store and say, hey, I want to buy this laptop, right? Consumers are doing that as well. So if you can educate them up front, they're going to be the ones who want to work with you. If you're not providing that education, if you're not educating them, the odds of them working with you are next to none. Because we live in an education-based society now. We're not an industrial society anymore. We're an education-based society. People want to learn. With the advent of the internet, it's at everyone's fingertips. So if you're not getting in front of them by educating them, and you're just trying to do traditional marketing and push in front of them, you're not going to get anywhere. Does that make sense to you guys? So, I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking about niches. So I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned through interviewing these agents with niches. One of the big things I find a lot of the agents who've been on my show have had a passion for what they do. And that makes a huge difference on the other end. They came in with it, they said, hey, I've got a passion for this, I'm going to make my real estate business work around this. Or they may have gotten into something and then became passionate about it. A good example is Chris Suarez. He's in Portland, Oregon. He was new to the business, or not new, he managed some offices, he started selling, and he said, I don't have time, I have time, but I don't have money, so what can I do? He chose open houses. So what he did was, he said, well, there's open houses, I can either be in an open house and trying to get people in there, or I can be sitting in my office doing my work. So he did an open house every single day for an entire year, 7 days a week, was there for 2 hours, did an hour or 2 hours of prospecting around that. He did, his first year, he did 18 million, then he went to 42 million, and then he's at $72 million now in the business. And it was all from people he's met and built around open houses. So he he wasn't passionate about open houses, but he became so good at it that it became such a passion. Now he's got a team, and they're all committed. They do 52 open houses a year, each at least. So he made it into his passion. Now, there are people who are passionate about something, and they mix that into their business. So, for example, I was sharing with Jenny and Michelle earlier, I had a guest on. Her name is Jackie Youngblood. Has anyone ever seen TLC's Buying Naked? She's the host of TLC's Buying Naked. She's a nudist who sells real estate. We laugh, but she's a mega agent. She's been a nudist since 1981. She moved to Florida to retire with her husband, and she got her license, I think, in the 90s. She started selling real estate to everybody and said, this is frustrating, I'm driving all over, this is crazy, I'm trying to make a good living. And then someone said, why don't you sell to nudists? And she's like, I can't believe I've never thought of combining my lifestyle with my business. She did that, and she just took off. She got a bunch of media coverage, she got news stories about her, free publicity, getting in the papers. She started becoming an advocate for nudists in the area all across the world. TLC found out about this, they picked it up, she got on TV. She's now has a team of 4 agents working with her, and she's now expanding. And she said, now, because she's been so passionate about it and so good at it, she is now getting nudists from all over the world calling her saying, hey, I need a nudist agent in Texas. Hey, I need a nudist agent in California. And now she's getting referrals for her business and getting 25% referral fee just because she was passionate. So, I'm not saying you guys have to be nudists in the extreme to grow your business.
Although that's okay.
If you want to do that, it's
do
fine.
that, right?
Don't start now.
Yelling tomorrow, for sure.
So the point is, she took a passion that she was passionate about and found a way to mix it into her business. Gary Vaynerchuk, you were talking about, he loves wine. His father owned a wine store, and he started this blog, a video blog about wine, and it took off, and he was making millions of dollars as being the wine expert. And he just was real, he was honest, he was just being himself around it, and he made a huge business. And you guys can have that. I'm sure you have events, community groups, connections, people, ethnic groups. There's all kinds of things you guys could be tying into to grow your business. And it doesn't have to be door knocking, cold calling, FISBOs, and open houses. And that's, when you get started, my complaint with most brokerages is that's what they tell you. Here's the 4 things, here's your keys, good luck, don't get sued, here's a phone book, and have good luck. So there isn't a lot of people telling you how to find niches because most people don't understand. So there's great resources online. Has anyone heard of Active Rain? ActiveRain.com is a Active Rain, A-C-T-I-V-E, Rain, R-A-I-N. That's where I started learning so much. So it's a blogging platform, and it's got 2 faces to it. There's a public side for the general public, but there's an agent-to-agent blog, and it's agents just blogging about the business, bitching and complaining, sharing good strategies, talking about ideas. So go on there, create an account, and just start looking through. There's years and years of blogs of information of people who are doing what you may want to do. There could be nudists on there. There could be people doing investment properties. There could be people working with young professionals, and they've shared all that information. So if you have a niche that you want to focus on, start researching, start looking at what's out there, and see if there's anyone else who's done it. And I'll just say one last takeaway for me is don't be afraid to reach out to other agents. We live in this world of agents, and we think that these top agents are these celebrities or they're untouchable. After starting this podcast and after interviewing agents, it took a little work. I had to talk to Ron's agent, but after I got in, agents who are doing very well love sharing what they do. They love talking about it. They're just as passionate about it as most people are of other things in their life. So we sit here and we go, oh, I'm just a new agent. No one wants to talk to me. I'm too afraid to reach out to that person. Take them to coffee. Reach out to them. Call them. Ask them for a conversation. If it's someone local, take them for lunch. They'll be more than happy to share with what they did, how they got there, what drove them to be what they are, and they'll share their secrets. To me, it's if you can reach out other areas, it's probably more likely to share what they do than specifically a local agent. But agents love them. Most agents love talking. So if you open your ear, themselves, exactly. So if you just say, hey, I really like what you're doing about this, and if you connect with them, something on like Active Rain, where you know that's their specialty, and you know that's what they're good about, they're good with. You say, hey, I noticed you work with first-time buyers. I'd love to chat with you about that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk to you about that. So don't be afraid to reach out and pick their brain. And if you can set up, I was saying about mentors, say, hey, would you mind if I touch base with you once a month? Just pick your brain for an hour and just talk about it. Most agents will give you the time. And they're they're honored to have someone do that, because it's like the most attractive woman at the bar probably doesn't get talked to because most men are afraid to talk to them, and that's the way agents are. They have a wealth of knowledge and they love to share with people, but people don't talk to them. So find a niche, find something you're passionate about, start researching, reach out to people, and really start working it. Now, it may not happen overnight. You're not going to, just because you become a nudist tomorrow, maybe you're going to start selling 1 million homes. But know that if you do focus on it, you're going to love your niche more, you're going to love your business more, you're going to be more passionate about it, your clients are going to be more passionate about it, and you're going to have a better business. So that's basically my chat in a nutshell.
Anybody have any questions for Ryan at this point?
Do you do personal training?
I do. We can talk after.
Okay, so why don't we just take a quick 5-minute break? You can get water, coffee, go wash, and then come back and I'll talk. Okay, I think we're just about all back, so we'll get moving so we can get across the street quicker. So Rob McKeegan was supposed to be here today, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about, first of all, what he was going to talk about, and then I'll talk about what I would have talked about if I was on a panel. So Rob is a big Brian Buffini follower. Has anyone here taken the Peak Producers? Okay. So, Brian Buffini is being kind of streamed through most brokerages, I think, today. He's, as you know, as most of you know, he's American, but he's Irish, and he has a lot of great things to say in his sessions. And, he is very big on keeping a database, the CRM, and also on following up the pop buys, the notes, and all that kind of stuff. So Rob follows him religiously, and he does that. That's his method. And you can call it a niche market or a target market, because he follows up, he does the pop buys, he sends the notes, he consistently adds to his database every time he talks to somebody. And we all tend to get a little bit lax at times, especially, I don't know about you guys, but you start to do a few deals and it's like, okay, well, I've got their emails, I've got their stuff, it's in my phone, but I haven't added it to my database. So then it comes time to send them out an e-newsletter or a Christmas card or something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, all those people are missing. Oh, I'll just send it to those people. Yeah. And then I'll go back
mistake.
And
best source.
And it's the best source. So basically, keeping in touch with our, as you know, sphere of influence is great, but our past clients, I think for a lot of us, the problem becomes follow-up. And 25 years in the business, I see that myself, and I'm determined to really work hard to follow up now with my clients. And I'll tell you a horror story that happened last year. I had sold a client a house. I had sold theirs, put them into a rental, and then they bought another house like a year later. So one day, I hadn't talked to them for a while. Our 2 boys played baseball together, so occasionally I'd see them at the field. So one day I'm on the hot sheet and I see what I thought was their house for sale. And I'm like aghast. Oh my God, they listed with so-and-so. I didn't know they were moving. The house looked just like their house. It was on the same street and they had the same last name. Okay? So I called my son and going, how come, what did they do? They didn't call me, and he goes, I don't know. I didn't know they were selling. So then I was really upset and I stewed about it. Oh, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I call them? So then a week or 2 later, I'm back on the hot sheet, and I'm looking at it. It's still for sale, and I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the first name. I'm thinking, that's not their first name. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's not them. I tell you, that night I emailed her, and I said, you know what? It's been a long time. We haven't spoken. Let's get together for coffee. And she said, yeah, come on over. So we went over. I mean, that was a wake-up call. That was a really big scare. And it will happen to you, and it happens to all of us, where you'll find a client that you had worked with, and all of a sudden you're going to see their listing come up on the hot sheet, and you're going to be so mad.
It feels like somebody's kicked you in the stomach, and you don't necessarily know why it's happened.
You could even be keeping up with them.
And you don't know why. They've either bought privately, gone into an open house, their neighbor or their friend just got in the business, numerous reasons, and they forgot. I'm really sorry, but you can sell my house for me, right? You can bring the buyer.
Sorry, if you don't mind, I had a similar experience to that where I was using a husband and wife couple for buying and selling, and we did a couple of 3-4 deals with them, and then I met somebody that I connected with, a friend that I became friends with. So I phoned her, and I said, I wanted to let you know that we're listing our house, but I'm listing it with somebody that I know. So I gave the woman a professional courtesy.
I wish people would like me.
Okay,
I'd be
however,
nice.
She tore your face off.
No, however,
Yeah.
I got the proverbial FU letter
Oh.
back. It was very, I can't believe you didn't contact us. You know, we've been working with you for years, da 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 da. And everything stopped. The emails, the contacts, everything. And I thought to myself, you know what, that was the wrong thing to do, because we then subsequently sold one of our investment properties that had my parents in it. That she would have been the perfect person to list because there would have been a connection there. But I felt so angry that she did that. And I thought, you know what, don't do that. So just, if somebody does,
That's really good.
just do it
Don't
someone
burn your bridges.
else.
Yeah,
Don't
that's it.
don't send a letter.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Or write the letter. Write the letter.
Don't
But don't
send
send it. Okay.
I know, and
You're gonna
honestly,
feel better after
say
you write it.
congratulations. If you need any
yeah.
help, let me know.
Yeah.
Phone back and say, how's it going? I saw
Well,
your house, so congratulations. You know, later
No,
on.
you got to
but-
be careful there, though.
Well, you
because
don't want to phone it
it-
this time.
Yeah, you
but
can't.
I'm saying after the fact. Like,
Yeah, after the
She
fact.
could have called me and said, I saw your house sold. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You know, just wanted to
I
say
wish
really
you all the best. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Just, I'm there for you in the future.
Exactly.
And because they might feel bad then and refer their brother to you, like you said, or their
Exactly.
mother. Because they
Exactly.
feel like, oh, I really made a mistake.
So you might get
Thank
kicked
you.
in the stomach, but you know what? Make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah,
that you
it's
don't
right.
let them know that.
The other side of that is doing an open house and having a couple who's very enthused and stuff, and talking to them ad nauseum about this house and stuff. And they went, the woman said to me, oh, I've been working with an agent for years and years, she's a lovely woman. And I said, oh yeah, who's that? And she just died. And I just blurted out, oh, she just passed away. Oh my God, when they started crying, her husband had to help her to the door. I thought, oh my God. It's like, I thought she was just your agent. I had no idea that you were that connected. It was like, it was a
They could have been
nightmare.
that connected if they.
Well, apparently, well, yeah.
But yeah,
I
it's
mean,
very sad. So those stories happen.
yeah, don't say that.
And just to interject, social media is a really great way to stay connected to your clients. So this is a huge, like all those friends who are maybe going to make a move soon, or you're part of their daily life. Then, like most of my past clients, I'm able to keep up with quite effectively through social media. And there's like contact management programs, like contactually. And it'll track, like, are you texting? Have you made a phone call to them? Have you connected with them on any of your social media? So it'll bring to your attention the clients who you've kind of left by the wayside a little bit, because I think more than 50, last year it was 60% of my business did come from past clients or their referrals.
Yeah, so what Michelle's talking about is, if you don't know what a CRM is, it's a client or customer relationship manager management base. And you can get them for free, you can pay a lot of money, you can pay a little bit of money. There's iExact, there's, like you said, Contactually, there's Constant Contact, there's the Buffini CRM, there's so many out there. But if you do get it, please use it. So what this basically was all about today was strategic prospecting, niche and target marketing. Because today, we just feel that cities and communities have grown too big, and that if you're just in this blanket market, like, oh, I'm going to go and get 2,000 postcards and say, would you like a free home evaluation? I'm going to send them out and everybody's going to call me. It's not going to happen. Like, you have to save your money, and what you have to do is sit down and think, what can I do that's different from other agents that is not going to cost me a lot of money? So basically, that's where you have to say, where do I spend my time? Who do I hang with? Who are good candidates? Who they know me, they like me already, so I think they would trust me to do real estate with them. They might know me from my prior career, but now I'm wearing a different hat. So that's why you need to really, really sit down and think about that. Because yes, you can blanket market with flyers and with things like that, but if you're not going to be consistent then it's not going to happen. And one other quick story there with someone that it did work with. There's an agent here in town, and she's worked really, 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 really hard for over 20 years. She started out in the business. She looked, and this was before target marketing was even, talked about. She decided that she was going to target a couple of areas in Oakville that weren't overly popular, and those were the white townhouses on Falgarwood, famously known as the White Elephants, and the Lancaster townhomes, because most of those were not owner-occupied. They were investors. They were owned by people that didn't live in them. So what she did way back then was she took Geo Warehouse. She went on and she found the owners. She got all the addresses and she found the owners, and she started writing letters to the owners. Hi, notice that you have a rental property in there. If you're thinking about renting it again, when it comes up, give me a call. Or if you're thinking about selling it again, let me know. She made her niche in those white buildings and Lancaster. Other agents were laughing. Oh, why would you do that? But every time you go on the hot sheet and you'd see, oh, there's a New Falgarwood, there's a Lancaster, and you'd see, oh, there she is, there she is. So she she farmed that area. As she progressed, she started focusing on the Ennisclare condos in Bronte, a little bit of a higher step up. And then she started focusing on other condos in town. She got a really great website, not that expensive, .2 agent, $550, amazing SEO from it, search engine optimization, because there's so many people on it. So she started being consistent with the flyers. So see the pattern? She's doing a little bit of everything. The flyers would go out. She gets a call from this lady in Ennisclare. And she said, oh, how did you get my name? She goes, well, you're the specialist. You work this building. And she said, well, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'll come and see you. So she goes over, the woman opens up the drawer, and she pulls out like a fistful of her card, her material that she had sent, because she put on there, you may not be thinking about moving right now, but please put this in your drawer for the future. and it worked. And she's still in the business, and over the years, her target market of price went up higher, So that's one way of doing it.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So just to tell you a good story, because you guys are new or newish. My good friend Adam Young, he's in my office. He's brand new to the business. Is anyone from Burlington? You know Driftwood area? So Driftwood is a tiny little pocket of 230 homes. The 407 cuts through. It's at Guelph Line and Dundas. There's a little pocket, little corner, there's 230 homes. So Adam grew up in the neighborhood. He knew the area, he knew people in the area. But he said, this is a tiny little pocket that no one's going to touch because it's just on the other side of the 407. There's nothing on the north end of it. No one really comes to it. So I'm just going to focus on this area. So he started doing it, marketing, started doing open houses, started focusing on that area. Took 9 months, he got nothing. On his 9th month, he got a listing. Then someone else called him and said, oh, you got a listing in the area. Well, why don't you come over? In the last year, Adam's done 11 deals from 230 homes in that area. He's now, we call him Mr. Driftwood at the office. 11 out of 13 sales in that neighborhood were from Adam.
That's pretty powerful.
And to add to that, he even had an agent who's from Mississauga call him and say, hey, I've got clients in the area. I was going to list it myself, but I know you sell all the homes in the area. Why don't you take a listing and don't charge me a referral fee? Just give them a good deal on the commission. So he's another agent calling him saying, you need the property. So he won Rookie of the Year in our office because he just got focused. He said, I'm going to focus in this area. So don't be afraid to go small and focus.
And that's really probably a better idea, is to go small.
Yeah.
Don't go big.
You can afford it, right? You can afford to do it for a whole year. Because if you're not going to commit to doing a farm and really do it.
The most important thing about if you're going to do that area is you better know the product. There's no point in picking an area where you have no idea. So the way you're going to know that market is you've either lived there before, or you're constantly going to the agent open houses on that day of the week in that market, or if you can't do that, you go to the public open houses and you get to know the product. And then if you do, start door knocking, you're able to say, they're going to say, what did my neighbor sell for, or what did this go, and you're going to know it, and you become like the neighborhood expert. So it's really important to know your product. And I know here in Oakville, there's agent open houses 4 days a week, and we don't you know, we don't suggest that you go and look at open houses 4 days a week, because there may be, you know, a certain area of town that you might not ever sell a house in, you know, or not interested. So just go to the area that you think you're going to work in and know that stuff. You know, just know. When I started out way back in 1989, I was pregnant with my third child. I was 7 months pregnant with my third child. So when I got into the business, I knew that it wasn't going to be something that I could make a lot of money at right away. It was going to be like a long-term thing. So as you know, within 2 years, you have to get your 3 credits. So within those 2 years, I had another baby. So that was 4 babies, 3 credits, and trying to work. So,
Good Lord.
So like Michelle, it's like, okay, like it's, you know, it's sink or swim, and I don't want to sink. So what am I going to do? So like you said, and like Michelle said, okay, I got to use my kids. So as the kids got older, because there was an age difference, I started, and I didn't want to put them in daycare. And that's great if that's the way you want to work, and you want to put your kids in daycare, and you're going to use that time effectively, perfect.
If you're in this business, you'd never see them if you did that, though. That was the biggest thing, too, right?
But some people do. And I found when we go out, it was like 2 hours here, 3 hours there. So I had a standby sitter that would take the kids, or my mother-in-law. And so what I would do was I would start to work my kids' network. And that was hockey, baseball, soccer, the school PTA, because that's when I started volunteering. So it's like, okay, I'd start going in doing hot dog days and pizza days. And I'd have the baby, you know, she's sitting on the table while I'm cooking hot dogs. And then it became, I was in charge of the annual barbecue. And it's like, you know, you take on this stuff. Anyways, you do it because you either enjoy it or whatever. So became the president of the PTA. And that's where I started going on the field trips. You know, this business does allow you to have some personal time. Your kids will love you if you're able to go on their field trips or spend some time during the day with them, because there's a lot of parents that can't. So I would go on the field trips, and what are you doing? You're meeting the other moms, you know, and they're chat. They all live in the same area as me because my kid, you know, our kids are at the same school. So the subject always turns to real estate. Wherever you go, you're going to have your little ears perk up when you're in the grocery line, you know. Are you wearing
your pins?
Yeah, I was going to say, are you wearing your pins? It's so easy just to be wearing your pins, and someone's going to say, oh, I had a cashier say, I couldn't do your job, and I'm thinking, how does she know what I do? And she's like, your pin. Oh, my pin. I didn't even know I had my pin on.
Yeah. I can attest the fact I've done a few open houses over time for Jenny, and there is never, ever one time that somebody doesn't walk in that door and say, oh, our children played soccer together. I just came to say hi to Jenny. Is Jenny here? She was my neighbor way back in Stratford. It's like, everybody knows Jenny. Oh, we went to high school together. It's like, oh, all right.
But it's so easy, right?
Right, but she knows everybody, and every single time. Somebody,
They got all this with me, though.
well, they're not, you know, they're not selling. They're coming by to say hello.
Sometimes you do too good of a job, you know, and you sell them a house and they want to stay there for 20 years. You just have to hope that you're still in the business 20 years later, or you have to keep after them, like, you know, and use some humor. It's like, geez, you guys, are you ever going to sell? If you're not, you know, I know I did a great job, but God, please give me some business, you know. Do you have any friends? Do you have any relatives? And I find humor is really good. And anybody here know Alan Bain? Alan Bain was, oh boy, poor Alan. Alan had Countrywide Realty, which I was with when I started, and then it became Prudential. Then it became Royal LePage. So Alan owned like 12 Prudentials. So he was my first broker manager, and he used to say to his clients, again, he'd used humor, and he'd say, you know, I've just sold your house. I've done such a great job that now you got to replace your listing for me. And they would just, oh, okay, because he would say it. And he said it in such a way, it's not like, okay, you know, do you have any friends or relatives that think about selling? You know, like.
Yeah, it's how to take some of the dialogues from these great trainers and stuff, too. And, like, how do you convert it to a way that's going to work for you? Because, like, I'm so not scripty. And maybe I should be, and maybe I'd be more successful if I was,
you think
right?
you're not, but you know what? And this is just, we talk about scripts and dialogues. We think we're not, but then I bet when you go into a listing presentation, that dialogue, the same thing that's coming out as every.
Absolutely, but it's in your own voice, right? It's in a way you would say it, sprinkled with humor for me, because that's the only way I get through those things, right?
I share the most powerful script I just learned. Not learned, I just had an aha this month. So I would say it's the script of the month for me. And you can all say it. So we were outdoor knocking, my business partner and I. We did 2,700 doors. And this the best script. I'm going to practice it with you guys. So you have a pen or paper or your phone, and you say, okay, great, and what's the best way to reach you? Don't look up at them. Don't look at them. Don't say a word to them. And just wait. 90% of them will start saying it. And they'll say, what's the best way to get a hold of you? My phone. You say, okay, great, and your email? And just don't look up at them. We are getting about 90% of people who we would ask that for would give us their contact information.
Wow.
And if you don't ask, they're not going to give it to you. So don't be afraid to ask. And is that scripted? Is that scripty, saying what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah.
No. It's just the act of just don't look up. Because we go, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Because, I mean, we're not going to bother you if you want. I mean, I'm just going to send you, if it's okay, so just say it, shut up, and they'll give it to you. So try it, and it'll work, I promise.
Another great way. Sorry.
No, this is great. I think, is this working okay for you guys? All right.
I do a lot of community events as well. So like I'll have a booth at the, we do this thing called the Family Show in Milton. So it's a bunch of different vendors and families come to find out what's going on in the community. And in order to get email addresses, and I have them all in constant contact, and I send out a monthly community events calendar and market stats, which people seem to really, really like. Like they love it. But I'll give away something. I'll be like, I'm giving away, instead of having the, can I get your email address to join my mailing list? It's like, hey, I'm giving away a season's pass to the Conservation Halton Parks. Do you want to enter the contest? Sure. Here you go. Subscribe. They subscribe, no problem. They're happy, right? But send out good content too. I think when somebody gives you their email address, don't spam them with crap. Like give them something that's going to be useful for them.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Ryan was talking. Oh, sorry. Question.
Sorry, how are realtors handling the anti-spam legislation?
As long as you have their permission and you have it
Yeah.
checked off. There's nothing wrong. You're allowed to send stuff as long as they give you
No, I'm
permission.
just curious though, because for example, I'm just
Yeah, and things have kind of changed. I mean, it's phasing in gradually, you have to realize. So Constant Contact actually had a really good video on it. I don't know if you watched that, but it was about an hour long, and it told you everything you need to know about the spam, but it was spam law. But basically, if you have their permission, that's right, and you're giving them an opportunity to opt in officially, and there's a record of it. So once like Constant Contact keep that log for you.
Yeah, and don't forget, and with constant contact at the bottom, there is an unsubscribe. So
That's
whatever
one of
you're
the-
sending out, make sure that there's an unsubscribe. And with constant contact, it's really good because they'll let you know then. Because when you send out things, it tells you exactly how many people have opened it, the percentage, when they opened it, if they clicked through, and you're going to know, and whether they blocked
And then how
you.
that compares to your industry as well, which is kind of
Yeah,
awesome.
which is really good.
Yeah.
And it can be good. Like if you get 67% open, that's, believe it or not, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know how many of you open your emails from the board? Like 32, 34%, is
That's
that
high,
right, Sandra?
Yeah, mine's usually around 34, and it's
Yeah.
high.
The industry average for real estate is 18.3%.
so is that because it pops up on your phone and you don't have to open it?
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Constant contact?
Or if you're sending out content.
It's about
you actually
$15
want
a
it,
month.
right?
I open every.
Do you? I don't. I'm like delete queen, but I get so many emails now. It's horrible.
Because the stuff on the board comes up and you can see it in your browser, so
Well-
you don't have to open it.
Okay,
Sometimes they-
okay.
sometimes
So
they
that
don't.
might
It's
be-
not-
Yeah, some
Actually,
do
I-
say click here, yeah.
So the other thing
Yeah,
is,
I
if you're door knocking, because people are worried about the anti-spam, is the law is if you have the permission, you need to have documented of what day and when they send that. So I take impeccable notes when I'm door knocking. I have my farm area already picked out. I know all the streets, addresses, and I take note who they were, what they said, what they looked like, if something happened, so I remember. But I also put the dates when I was there. So all you need, if someone says, well, I didn't ask for it, you say, actually, I got your permission, you're at the door, and you have a record of that, then that's all you need. So, because there's
So
no
it's phased
click
in, and
here.
your
when you're
brokerages should all have that information for you, so just talk to your broker and
Yeah.
they'll give it to you. So another thing that you can do, if you want to specialize in a certain area, is to look at the different designations that are available to you out there. We've got the ABR, which is an accredited buyer representative, and Barbara Brindle was doing it. I'm not sure if she still is, but it's an amazing course, the ABR. It's a 2-day course, and she teaches you everything about working with buyers, how to make yourself a little brochure, how to handle, get them into the office, give them questionnaires. Then you've got the ASA, which is the accredited senior agent. If you decide you want to work with seniors, there's really a lot to know there about, lifestyle changes where they're going to nursing homes. So that's sort of a niche market there, because at some point people are going to
they're going to need it, and it fits into your other niches, because I have that designation, and I'm also a master accredited senior agent, which is a separate designation, and we all the people that hold that designation, they communicate on a monthly basis, and we're really focused on just sort of serving seniors and their family, right? Because it's not just the seniors, obviously, it's the family, and knowing the resources available in the community to really help them make a transition if they need to. But also kind of prepares you, and I think markets you a bit to work with boomers and their downsizing, right? So that's been a big part of my business, because I get so many past client referrals, right? So it's always, oh, well, Mom, you have to deal with Michelle, right? So they end up referring parents and stuff like that. So I know when you're working sort of in a niche, or you develop that and then you have your past clients, you also, if you're going to bring in extra services, like what can you do with what you're already doing to enhance it, right? So by adding another designation or a specialty that you can help your existing clients with.
Especially when you're new, because when you're new, I mean, you still have to take your 3 courses, but you need some credibility. You know, you don't have a huge portfolio built up, so you need some credibility. So if you're able to say on your website, and when these guys were talking about their business cards, make sure that website is on everything. Ryan's point about only putting 3 bullet points on Kijiji is because he's trying to drive the traffic to his website, because you want stickativity. You want them to come to your website and call you, because you've got all this great information on your website. Okay?
So speaking of that then too, is on your business cards, I've cut back and put 1 phone number, an email address, and website. Because you see people on there, there's 6 fax numbers, their pager number, their how to send them this message, how to go to this website, and put all this stuff. They don't know where to go, so it's give them the direction, tell them where to go. Let's go to my website to get this. Go to your avatar or whatever.
And then once they get to your website, you should have a call to action on there. You know.
Yeah.
And make sure you have a contact number. I mean, there are people that have websites, and you're looking all over on there. And also, make sure it's RICO compliant. So make sure you've got your salesperson on there after your name. Make sure you got brokerage after the name of your company, and that it's, you know, when someone comes to your website, they know that you're a real estate representative for XYZ Realty Brokerage.
Always get, send the link to your broker or your broker manager, whatever you're doing, just to kind of get that approval if you're not 100% sure, because it's a lot of things.
And the same thing,
remember
yeah, and it's on everywhere you advertise, every piece of advertisement. When you go to Kijiji, and we see a lot of horrific things on Kijiji, what agents are putting on there, and they're not RICO compliant. So you have to have your name, sales representative, who you work with, or work for, and proper numbers. It's just be really careful out there, because I did a session this morning for new agents on RICO disciplinary hearings, and I read off some cases, and you guys, it was for Halloween. You know, we did a horror stories from the RICO crypt this morning, and it was quite interesting. Terrifying. You know, it's terrifying. So you don't want to go down that road, and your broker manager doesn't want you to either. So just getting back for a minute to when my kids were young. Yeah, I did. If you have kids that are on teams, you know, say, okay, I'll be the team mom. I'll look after the fundraiser. And then what happens when you have the fundraiser and all the cheese gets delivered to your house? All the teams come into your house to pick up the cheese. And what's hanging on the side of your garage? Your for sale signs, right?
Yeah, like, your car, make sure you get a decal for that.
and what do they give you when you're the team mom? A list, and again, you got to be careful, but it's got their names, it's got their addresses, their emails, their phone numbers. I mean, that's gold. Your kid's on a soccer team. Okay, well, I'm going to buy 20 water bottles for the team, you know, with my name and my brokerage on it. Or I'm going to sit there at my soccer games with my great big umbrella that's got my brokerage name all over it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things you can do cheaply. The other thing that I would do was sponsor my kids' team. For $450, you've got 14 hockey sweaters with your name on it in an arena. And again, if it's a name where you've got all sorts of relatives in the town, they come up to me and, you know, like, oh yeah, my son was on your son's team. Oh, must have been my cousin's son, because my kid's like 30 and yours is 15. You know, so there's lots of ways.
And people see it and they know. Because it's funny, like, you don't necessarily realize you're doing all these great things, but you don't know if anybody's really acknowledging it. But then you go to an event, or I go to an event with the other moms, and they're like, oh my God, I love that blog you wrote about smoothies. Like, I didn't know that, or whatever. and they're paying attention. So you're planting seeds. So don't give up on something quickly because you're not seeing immediate benefit from it, because I think that you have to be patient when it comes to something like this.
Yeah.
And just keep planting the seeds, right?
So there are lots of niches, lots of markets. Like, you know, Ryan was saying, it's not just geographical. It's, you know, dig down deep. Go home tonight and just look at sort of your past clients, or look at your sphere of influence and the people that are on it. And what do you have in common with them? Where did you meet them? Where do you go during the week to meet people? And then sort of like say, okay, well, here's that little area. I'm going to concentrate on that, whether it's a book club or whether it's a Zumba class or whatever. There's lots of things that you can do. And I think just try to, you know, you want the biggest bang for your buck. You want to spend the least amount of money and get, you know, the most amount of visibility out there. So any other questions before? We're going to let Ron's here, so he asked for a few minutes. So we'll let him come up and talk for a minute. Yes, Sharon.
Can I just ask for your, sorry, can I ask for your comments on the value of door knocking? Is that really, is there a payback in that?
Do you want my answer? 100%.
Really?
If you do it with the right strategy and the right approach. If you're doing it wrong, which many do, I can tell you I use a door knocking direct response approach. Is I farm an area and we do neighborhood reports, and we door knocked. We did 2,700 homes. We have 330 people on a report in 2 weeks. So that's 330 people that have signed up and wanted to know more information. Of those, we have 35 people that are moving in the next 6 months, who we now have all their contact information and are now being followed up with. We just got a listing already. So we started in mid-September. We've got one listing, we've got another listing for spring, and for 2.5 weeks of work. So, or sorry, 3.5 weeks of work. So, yes.
Yeah. For me, I like hearing those stats. It compels me to want to do that, but it's not who I am, and I hate it.
Yeah, if you're not going to be doing it.
I don't feel safe as a woman knocking on random doors, and maybe that's really paranoid, but that's just where I come from, right? So, but if you feel confident about it and you love it, you do it. If that's how you like to engage people. I'll knock on doors when I'm preparing for my yard sale. I'll knock on every door on the street to see if they have things they want to donate to the sale, because I feel comfortable approaching somebody about fundraising, but feel guilty knocking on their door about business, which might be right or wrong. It depends on your confidence level when they open the door, right?
And your strategy, I mean, the effectiveness is only as good as if you're doing it. So does cold calling work? Absolutely, because there's people doing it who doesn't. But they do it. Some people say, well, I don't. Well, here's a good example. One of the people that I coach, she started door knocking, and she went out. Her first day was phenomenal. She went out and had great results. Second day was horrible. She said, I wanted to just quit the business. Second day, well, I was okay. And the fourth day was good. So I said, if you took a slice, which most agents do, they'll try something once. And I said, if you segment, and what happens if that first day was that day that was a horrible day, and you judged the outcome on, oh, I went door knocking for today, and 6 people told me to screw off. Oh, I'm never door knocking again. If you judge your outcome on one slice of your experience with it, you probably won't continue with it. So keep doing it. You may not be good now, but if you keep doing it, you'll be better at it. It could be connecting and networking with moms. When you first start out, you may suck at it. But if you keep doing it, you know how to do it, and you get the right approach, you grow. So don't make a judgment on one experience of going out, or even 1 week, or even 1 month. Is keep doing it and find a strategy that does work. Now, there are proven methods and models that work. I would say start with those and leverage off those. Brian Buffini, we know, works. Mike Ferry's scripts work if you're doing cold calling. There's a number of things that work. You just got to find something that you're comfortable with, and that is you're going to do.
Yeah.